So, it's now the fourth grading period. So, ano ba yung tatakal natin for the fourth grading period? So, basically, yung fourth grading period, we are talking about trigonometry. Hi, guys! So, it's the start of the fourth grading period. So, since it's a new grading period, that means it's a new beginning. So, ibig sabihin, so forget the past. So, forget the things that you've done, wrong things that you've done in the past. So, it's a new beginning, so it's time to start again. So, yun nga lang, syempre, yung mga hindi mo nagawa ng third grading period, so dapat mag-improve ka today or mag-improve ka this grading period. So, ayun lang naman yung lagi inaano natin eh. So, hopefully, we are hoping always that every grading period is you are improving. I-improve ka sa bawat ginagawa mo. So, hindi yung bumababa yung interest mo sa pag-aaral. Dapat nga, kung kailan matatapos na, yun ka dapat nung medyo nagsisipag mag-aral eh, di ba? Pero sa iba, medyo baliktad ang nangyayari. So, syempre, kung ano yung pangit yung naging simula mo ng first grading period, dapat i-improve mo ng second grading period. And kung may hindi ka pa nagawa nun, improve mo siya ng third grading period. Kung meron pa rin kulang, dapat improve pa rin in the fourth grading period. So, dapat you are continuously improving. Hindi yung bumababa yung yung interest sa pag-aaral. So, ito nga sinabi natin for the fourth grading period, so since it's the last grading period, so konti na lang matatapos na yung school year na to, malalagpasan na natin yung school year na to na bago sa ating lahat. So, konting area na lang. So, papasaan ba matatapos din natin? So, at least na-encounter natin yung ganitong way of learning and way of teaching. So that kapag ganito ulit yung encounter natin, so we know already what we are going to do. So, hopefully, bumalik na lahat sa normal or mawala na yung dahilan kung bakit tayo may pandemic now. So, hopefully, mawala na yon so that we can all go back to normal na pumapasok tayo in school, diba? Mas masaya yung ganon than you are just in an online class. But still, hindi natin, wala tayong magagawa since nasa pandemic na tayo and ganito yung way of learning. So, we just have to accept it. So, kung ganito man yung magiging way of learning susunod, at least na-encounter na natin and at least alam na natin yung mga gagawin sa mga susunod kung magkaroon man ng ganitong ulit na way of learning. So, it's now the fourth grading period. So, ano ba yung tatakal natin for the fourth grading period? So, basically, yung fourth grading period, we are talking about trigonometry. So, yung third grading kasi is about geometry. But this time, it's about trigonometry. Ano ba yung trigonometry? So, in trigonometry, it comes from two Greek words. So, those are trigonon and metron. Trigonon means triangle, while metron means measure. So that if we are going to define trigonometry the simple way, you can define trigonometry as triangle measurement. So that's what we mean by trigonometry. But if we are going to define trigonometry as a branch of mathematics, so let's define it as trigonometry, a branch of mathematics that studies triangles and the relationship between the lengths of their sides and the angles between those sides. So if you are going to analyze a definition, you are really, when we are pertaining to trigonometry, we are really pertaining to triangles together with its measure. because we are fitting to the relationship of that triangles between the lengths of their sides and the angles between those sides. So as our lesson number 1 for the 4th grading period, we are going to discuss angles and their measures, which is an introduction. So what are the things that we are going uh, to learn in this topic? So, pag-aaralan ito yung different measures and different angles. Then, we'll give examples later sa mga pinag-aralan natin. Okay, so umpisahan natin. So, syempre, there are terms that we can encounter in this lesson na, na kailangan natin i-unlock. So, let us first define those terms. So, una, so ito naman medyo hindi na bago sa inyo. You have already encountered the definition of this. But, para ma-recall ninyo yung definition, we are going to define it again. So, number 1 is angles. And we define angles as the union of two non-collinear rays with a common endpoint called vertex. So we can draw an angle if we do have two non-collinear rays na may common endpoint, which is yung tawag natin sa common endpoint na yun is the vertex. So if you're going to do, for example, a point, then you are going to draw two rays na hindi magkaiba ng direction or hindi nagpo-form ng line, so we can form an angle. So aside from angle, since we are talking about angles, so there are different kinds of angles. So medyo familiar na yung iba dito because you have already encountered this again. So una, yung tinatawag natin right angle. When we say right angle, it is an angle that measures exactly 90 degrees. So, alam niyo naman yung kung ano yung itsura ng right angle. Ito yung angle na may nakikita tayong square kapag dinraw natin yung right angle. So, usually, naglalagay tayo ng square dun sa angle na yon. That means that we are pertaining to an angle which measures exactly 90 degrees. So, that angle is what we call as right angle. Second, we do have what we call acute angle. So ano ba ang acute angle? Acute angle is an angle that measures less than 90 degrees. So kapag yung, for example, ito yung 90 degrees, so kapag bumaba yung measure niyan, so we are already pertaining to an acute angle. So an angle that measures less than 90 degrees. Aside from acute angle, we do have also obtuse angle. Obtuse angle is an angle that measures more than 90 degrees but less than 180 degrees. So more than 90 degrees. Kung 90 degrees to, lalagpas na siya pag ganun. So that means we are pertaining already to obtuse angle because the measure of that angle is more than 90 degrees. Pero hindi dapat lumagpas ang measure niya sa 180 degrees. So if that is the case, that means we are pertaining to obtuse angle. So bakit hindi kailangan lumagpas sa 180 or bakit hindi kailangan maging 180 degrees? It's because of the fourth one. So we do have here straight angle. Straight angle is an angle that measures exactly 180 degrees. So ibig sabihin, kapag nag 180 degrees na, ibang kind of angle na yon. We already call that as a straight angle. And then, if we do have what we call reflex angle. A reflex angle naman is an angle that measures more than 180 degrees but less than 360 degrees. So, umikot pa siya. So, kung ang 180 degrees yung tuwid, tapos lumagpas pa siya, so yung angle that we are pertaining to there is what we call as reflex angle. So, ang ibig sabihin, ang measure niya na ay more than 180 degrees but less than 360 degrees. So, yun yung angles together with its kinds. So now, usually, ginagamit natin for graphing is yung tinatawag natin Cartesian plane. So, but maraming gamit yung Cartesian plane na in math. So, marami siyang gamit. So, pwede natin gamitin yan in many different ways. So ano ba yung Cartesian plane? Yung Cartesian plane consists of, we can form Cartesian plane if we do have uh, um, uh, two lines which are perpendicular to each other. So that horizontal line, that is what we call as the x-axis. Then this vertical line is what we call as the y-axis. So if we do have a Cartesian plane was divided into four regions, which are called quadrants, which was numbered in a counterclockwise direction. So this is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Then quadrant 1 has positive coordinates. Quadrant 2 has negative positive coordinates. Quadrant 3 has negative coordinates, while quadrant 4 has positive negative coordinates. So now, before we made use of that Cartesian plane, so let's have this conversion. So in the things that we are going to discuss for this grading period, so importante yung conversion na to. So una, for every one revolution, that is equivalent to 360 degrees. Isang ikot daw. Isang ikot. So for example, isang ikot ka using the Cartesian plane, that's equivalent to that is equivalent to 360 degrees. Then for every 60 minutes, you know that it's equivalent to 1 hour. But in trigonometry, that's equivalent to 1 degree. So, parang nakikita tayo ng 60 minutes in our lesson, that means that is already equivalent to 1 degree. And we know that 60 seconds is equal to 1 minute. So, remember these conversions because magagamit ko yung mga conversions na yan once we move on discussing more topics about this grading period. Also, let's talk about what we call initial side. So, if we're going to use this Cartesian plane and we are pertaining to the initial side, sabi dito, initial side always starts from positive x-axis. Nasaan ba ang positive x-axis? Di ba ang positive x-axis yung right side na x-axis? Right part of the x-axis. So, nasaan yon? So, ito yung positive x-axis. So, ibig sabihin, ayun yung tinatawag natin as the initial side. So, initial side always starts from the positive x-axis. Then, aside from initial side, we do have what we call also terminal side. Terminal side naman is the one that moves. So, it can be this terminal side can be located in quadrant 1 or quadrant 3 or any of the four quadrants. So, doon makikita terminal side. So, for example, ito. So, that one is the terminal side. So, this terminal side, just like what I mentioned to you, can be located in quadrant 2 or in any of the four quadrants. So, makikita nyo. Sabi nga, the terminal side is the one that moves. So, if, for example, we want to find out for the measure of this terminal side, so of course, mag-start siya sa initial side to the terminal side. So if we want to measure this angle, starting from the initial side to terminal side, or we want to measure the measure of the terminal side, so you have to look at the direction of the angle that we are pertaining to. So, ang direction niya is in a counterclockwise direction. Bakit mahalaga yung direction? It is because doon mo malalaman if the measure of angle is positive or negative. It's because kapag counterclockwise direction, the measure of the angle is positive. Just like this one, starting from the initial side, going to this terminal side. That is, if we are going to find out for the measure of this angle, we will come up with a positive measure of angle. On the other hand, if we are going to find out for the measure of the other angle, ito naman. So, starting from the initial side to the terminal side, yung kabila naman, yung kabaliktaran. So, from the initial side to the terminal side, So since the direction is clockwise, so we will come up with a measure of angle which is a negative measure. So negative yung measure ng angle if the direction is clockwise. So tandaang mabuti that if you want to find out the measure of the angle, or we want to find out the measure of the terminal side, all we have to do is to find out first the direction. Kapag counterclockwise, positive yung measure ng angle. Kapag clockwise naman, negative yung measure ng angle. So, paano malalaman yung mga measure na yon? Usually, may measure dapat tayo. So, eto yon. So, kapag counterclockwise, the same way how Cartesian or the quadrants was numbered. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Pag ganon, ang counterclockwise. So kapag counterclockwise, syempre, from the initial side, that would be 0. Then, pag umabot dito, positive y-axis, that would be 90, 180, 270. Then isang buong ikot is equivalent to 360 degrees. So alam na natin, basta 0 to 90, basta dito sa gitna, so, nasa between 0 to 90 yan. Okay, so 0 and less than 90 kasi pag 90, right angle na yun. Then, that is if the direction is clockwise, counterclockwise rather. Kapag clockwise naman, pabalik. So, 0 degrees, ito yung magiging negative 90 degrees mo. This will be negative 180 degrees. Ito ay negative 270 degrees. Isang ikot ay negative 360 degrees. Kaya positive negative 360 to, positive negative 180 degrees. So, because nakadepende kung anong direction, kung positive ba siya or negative. And itong dalawa magpapalit. So, from clockwise, from 90 dito, at sa counterclockwise, kapag clockwise yan, to negative 270 yan. Kasi pabalik tayo kapag clockwise. Nandito yung negative 90. So, always remember that. So, saan natin ginagamit yan? So, let's have these examples. So, sabi dito, determine to what quadrant or axis a given measure or condition is located. So, alamin nyo lang, based on what we've discussed a while ago, so we are just going to determine to what quadrant or axis a given measure or condition is located. So, you just have to imagine a Cartesian plane in your mind. Na alam nyo, Cartesian plane, for example, kapag counterclockwise, 90, 180, 270, 360. Kapag clockwise, negative 90, negative 180, negative 270, then negative 360. So let's have this. Sample number 1, 90 degrees. So specifically, where can you locate 90 degrees? So, since positive yung measure ng angle, so basically the direction is counterclockwise. So nasaan siya? So nandoon siya malolocate sa line, particularly doon sa positive y-axis. Diba? If you're going to draw a Cartesian plane on your mind, so yung 90 degrees nandoon sa taas. Diba? 0, 90. Eh, dalawa yung part ng y-axis eh. Pareha silang nasa y-axis kasi pwedeng 270 nasa y-axis din. So, which part of the y-axis 90 degrees is located? So, that is on the positive part of the y-axis. The 90 degrees is located on the positive y-axis. Next, how about 135 degrees? 135 degrees. What quadrant or axis? Yung number 1 kasi, wala siya in any of the 4 quadrants. Yung number 1 kasi, malolocate natin siya on the line, particularly on the y-axis, specifically on the positive y-axis. But on example number 2, 135 degrees, hindi naman siya exact 90, 180, 270, and 360. So basically, yung measure ng angle natin is on any of the 4 quadrants. So saan matatagpuan ngayon? Yung 135 degrees. So 135 degrees, since positive yung measure ng angle, so counterclockwise pa rin. So from 90, kasunod ng 180. So nasa pagitan siya ng 90 to 180. So, ibig sabihin, 135 degrees is located in quadrant 2. Nakakasunod? Next, number 3. 450 degrees. So where can you locate 450 degrees? So, nga, positive pa rin yung measure ng angle natin. So counterclockwise pa rin tayo. So, di ba ang isang buong revolution is equivalent to 360 degrees? Eh, more than 360 degrees yan. Di ba? So, isang buo, 360 degrees. Ilan yung sobra? So, may sobrang 90 degrees. So, parang bumalik tayo sa number 1 kanina. So, nasa 90 degrees tayo. So, therefore, 450 degrees is located on a positive y-axis also. Just like example number 1. So, para sila located on the positive y-axis because if you're going to use Cartesian plane and find out the measurement, find out kung saan malolocate yung measure ng angle na yan. So, mag-fall siya dun sa positive y-axis. Next, number 4, negative 120 degrees. Oh. Negative yung measure ng angle. So, since negative yung measure ng angle, clockwise yung direction. Pabalik tayo. So, clockwise yung direction. So, negative 120 degrees, saan matatagpuan? So, 0, ang sunod doon, negative 90. So, more than negative 90 siya kasi 18, negative 180 na yung sunod. So, saan matatagpuan yon? So, malolocate yon on quadrant 3. So, take note, kahit na nag-iba yung direction, yung numbering ng quadrant hindi magbabago. So, ganun pa rin yung numbering ng quadrant. 1, 2, 3, 4 on a counterclockwise direction. So, kahit nag-iba yung sign nung measure ng angle, hindi magbabago yung number ng quadrant. So, still, nasa baba, quadrant 4, quadrant 3 nandito. So, negative 90, nasa negative y-axis, then negative 120 is between negative 90 to negative 180. So, it is located in quadrant 3. Next, number 5. Negative 45 degrees. Where can you locate negative 45 degrees? So, that is in between 0 and negative 90, right? So, where can you locate that? That is in quadrant 4. So, malolocate mo yung angle na yon, yung measure ng angle na yon in quadrant 4. It's because, again, the measure of angle is a negative measure. So, that means the movement is on a clockwise direction. Next, number 6. Negative 300 degrees. So, where can you locate negative 300 degrees? Ang buong ikot ay negative 360 degrees. So, since negative yan, clockwise yung direction, so, saan matatagpuan yung negative 300 degrees? So, we can locate that in quadrant 1. Basta special kapag ang angle mo ay 90, 180, 270, 360 because you can locate that on the line. But if hindi ganun, malolocate mo in any of the 4 quadrants. Pero kapag sobra naman siya, you still have to know kung ilan yung sobra doon sa 360 degrees sa isang buong ikot. So, negative 300 degrees is located in quadrant 1. So, the direction is in clockwise direction. Number 7, 800 degrees. 800 degrees. So, ilang revolution ang 800? Ilang revolution meron sa 800 degrees? Diba? 360 isang revolution. Plus 360, another revolution. So, 360 plus 360, that would be 720. So, 720, ilan yung sobra? May 80 na sobra. So, 720, dalawang revolution, dalawang ikot. Since positive yan, counterclockwise tayo and may sobrang 80 degrees. So, nasa between 0 to 90 yun. So, ibig sabihin, yung 800 degrees, malolocate natin in quadrant 1 pa rin. Yung sobra na 80. So, yun yung magiging clue natin kung saan natin malolocate yung measure ng angle na yun. So we just have to remember that for every 1 revolution, that is equivalent to 360 degrees. Kasunod ba so far? Let's try number 7. Number 8 rather. Number 8, the given is negative 640 degrees. So where can you locate negative 640 degrees? That's more than 1 revolution. So isang buong revolution ay negative 360. So ilan yung sobra? Kasi negative 360 plus negative 360, that's negative 720. So wala pa siyang dalawang revolution. So ilan yung measure ng angle na yon na more than 1 revolution? So that would be 640 minus, ano lang natin, 360. 640 minus 360. So ilan pa yung sobra sa 360 degrees? So sige nga, 360, 460, 560. So 280. Ibig sabihin sobra siya ng negative 280 degrees. So since negative yung measure ng angle, pabalik yung ano natin, clockwise yung direction. So negative 200, what's that? Negative 280? Negative 280 degrees. Saan matatagpuan yun? Negative 90, negative 180, negative 270, negative 280. So matatagpuan na yun sa negative 270, between negative 270 to negative 360. So, saang quadrant yung matatagpuan? So, negative 640 degrees is located in quadrant 1. Nakasunod? Number 9. Let's try another. So, negative 189 degrees. Kasi nga, negative 189, negative yung measure ng angle. So, clockwise direction tayo. Kalahati, that's negative 180. So, ibig sabihin, lagpas na siya ng kalahati. Nasa between negative 180 siya to negative 270. So, anong quadrant yun? So, that is located in quadrant 2. So, number 9, negative 189 degrees is located in quadrant 2. Next, number 10, negative 180 degrees. So, where can you locate negative 180 degrees? So, half yun, negative 90, negative 180. So, the measure of the angle is located on the line. So, particularly, nasa line siya? Nasa x-axis siya. But which part of x-axis specifically malolocate yung negative 180 degrees? So, you can locate that on a negative x-axis. Di ba? Ang x-axis natin is dalawa. Yung positive x-axis, yung positive part of x-axis, saka yung negative part of x-axis. So, if you are asked to locate a certain measure of angle, so you just have, kapag malolocate mo siya on the line, you just have to be specific. If it is located on on a positive part or a negative part of x and y axis. That is for number 10. Next, number 11. So this time it's quite different. So here's the condition. 3/4 revolution in a clockwise direction. So given yung direction clockwise. So ibig sabihin, kung clockwise yung direction, negative yung measure ng angle na tinutukoy natin. So kung may Cartesian plane tayo, we are pertaining to 3/4 revolution. So nasa yung 3/4 revolution, 1/4, di ba? Cartesian plane naman, kapag meron tayong Cartesian plane natin yan into 4. Di ba? 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Pampalit tayo. So yung pangatlo, negative 90, negative 180, negative 270. So the measure of the angle is negative 270 degrees. So you just have to find first what would be the measure of the angle. So 3/4 revolution in a clockwise direction, ang measure ng angle nun ay negative 270 degrees. So where can you locate negative 270 degrees? Kapag clockwise direction, negative 90, negative 180, negative 270. So nasa y-axis. But which part of the y-axis? That is on the positive y-axis. So kapag ganito yung case nung ano natin, nung sinasagot natin, you're not only going to determine to which quadrant it is located. You have to also find out the measure of the angle because the given is just a condition. Okay, so let's try another. Number 12, 3.5 revolution in a counterclockwise direction. So the direction is counterclockwise, ibig sabihin positive yung measure ng angle. Pero 3.5 revolution, tatlot kalahati, ibig sabihin tatlong ikot. So ilan yung tatlong ikot? So hindi hindi yung 1/2 lang ang yung 1/2, dali lang yon. Pero 3.5, tatlong ikot at kalahati. So every one revolution is equivalent to 360 degrees. So tatlong 360 degrees, ilan yon? So 360 degrees plus 360 degrees plus 360 degrees, meron tayong 1,080 degrees. Plus kalahati, ang ilan yung kalahati? Buo, 360. Ang kalahati ay 180. So 1,080 degrees plus 180 degrees. So magkakaroon tayo ng measure ng angle na 1,260 degrees. So ngayon, where can you locate 1,260 degrees? So dito may idea na kayo, 3.5. So usually, it's 180. So malulocate mo siya on the line. But which part of the line, particularly, kapag mo siya, nasa x-axis siya. Which part of the x-axis na malolocate mo, yung 1,260 degrees. So basically, you can locate that on the negative x-axis. So nakasunod doon. Let's try another. Let's have number 13. 2 2/3 revolution in a counterclockwise direction. 2 2/3 revolution. Positive ulit yung measure ng angle. Dalawang revolution. So, ilan yung dalawang revolution? 360 plus 360, you have 720. So, kailangan mo lang alamin, ilan yung 2/3 revolution? 360. Meron kang 360. Hatiin mo into 3. So, bawat isa, meron kang 120 degrees. 2/3 yun. So, 120 degrees plus 120 degrees, meron kang 240 degrees. Meron ka na kayo ng 720, which is yung total ng dalawang revolution. 720 degrees plus 240 degrees, magkakaroon ka ngayon ng measure ng angle na total na 960 degrees. Positive kasi counterclockwise yung direction. So now, where can you locate 960 degrees? Ilan yung 2/3? Yung 2/3 ay 240 degrees. So, ayun na lang yung tignan mo. Kasi yung dalawang revolution, unikot na yun eh. Yung 2/3 niya yung titignan mo. Yung 2/3 ay 240. Ibahin natin 360 into 3. Every part is 120. So, dalawang part yung kailangan mo doon na kailangan for 2/3, that would be 240. So, where can you locate 240? In a counterclockwise direction. So, 240 is between 180 to 270. So, you can locate that in any of the 4 quadrants. So, what quadrant is that? That is on quadrant 3. You can locate that in quadrant 3. Hopefully, nakakasunod. So, kung hindi pa rin, let's try this example. The number 14. So, 4 and 5/6 revolution in a clockwise direction. Clockwise ulit tayo. So, ibig sabihin, negative yung measure ng angle. Ano man agad na negative measure ng angle? 4 na revolution. So, that is 360 plus 360 plus 360 plus 360. So, yung dalawa is 720. 720 plus 720, you'll have 1,440 degrees. 4 na revolution yan, 1,440. So, alamin mo ngayon yung 5/6. So, i-divide mo ngayon yung 360 kasi isang revolution is equivalent to 360. I-divide mo siya into 5. So, every part is equivalent to 60 degrees. Limang part ang kailangan mo. So, 60, 120, 180, 240, 300 degrees. So, may additional na 300 degrees dun sa 4 revolutions. So, 1,440 degrees plus 300 degrees will come up with a total of 1,000 or negative 1,740 degrees. Negative again, it's because the direction is in clockwise direction. So ngayon, to which quadrant you can locate quadrant or axis you can locate negative 1,740 degrees. So, yung 5/6 na lang ang tignan mo. Diba yung 5/6 ay 300 degrees. So, basically, kung clockwise yun, negative 300 degrees yun. So, pabalik tayong ikot. So, negative 90, negative 180, negative 270. So, nasa pagitan siya, negative 270 to negative 360. So, saan quadrant yun? So, you can locate that in quadrant 1. So makikita natin yon or malulocate natin yung quadrant na yon in yung measure ng angle na yon in quadrant 1. So paano naman kapag ganito yung given? Sample, determine the measure of the terminal side. So ito yung terminal side natin. So we are going to find the measure of that terminal side. So ito yung hinahanap nating measure. Okay, nag-start sa initial side, umiikot ng gano'n hanggang dito sa terminal side. Ano yung measure ng angle na yon? Na measure ng angle na yon na hinahanap natin. So, from here, so this angle daw measures 45 degrees. So, ibig sabihin, kung 45 to, kasi from 0 to 90, so kalahati siya. Ibig sabihin, kung 45 to, 45 din yung angle na to. So, nakailang ikot yung figure natin. So, from the initial side, umikot ng gano'n, nakaisang ikot. So, meron ka na ngayon 360 degrees. Plus this measure of angle. Again, kung 45 to, ibig sabihin 45 dito. So, 360 plus 45 lang yun. So, that means you can come up with 360 plus 45 degrees, 360 degrees rather, plus 45 degrees, you'll come up with the total measure of the angle, which is equal to 405 degrees. Bakit positive? It's because the direction is on a counterclockwise direction. Counterclockwise yung direction niya. That's why the measure of the angle is positive. Nakuha yun. So if not yet, let's try this example. Let's have number 16. Ito naman ngayon. So we are going to find the measure of this terminal side. Diba sabi nga natin kanina, ito yung nag-move. So you can locate that in any of the 4 quadrants or kahit saan, basta yun yung side na nag-move. So nandito siya ngayon. So, ito yung hinahanap natin, nakapaikot na to. So, mula dito, hanggang dito sa terminal side, that measures 80 degrees. So, ilang ikot ba? So, nakaisang ikot na siya. Tignan mo, mula dito hanggang dito, isang ikot. So, sumobra siya. So, ibig sabihin, may 360 ka na. Then, sumobra pa sa kalahati. Ang kalahati ay 180, tama? So, 360 plus 180. So, ibig sabihin, meron ka ng 540. So, kung 540 hanggang dito, ito daw, given na. Ang measure niya is 80. So, 540 plus 80 na lang. Tama ba? 540 plus 80. So, magkakaroon tayo ng 620. So, since ang direction ay clockwise direction, ibig sabihin, negative yung measure ng angle. So, meron tayong measure ng terminal side na negative 620 degrees. So, kailangan mong alamin yung direction para alam mo kung ano yung magiging measure ng angle, kung positive ba or negative. As always remember, kapag counterclockwise, positive yung measure ng angle. Kapag clockwise, negative yung measure ng angle. And of course, since lagpas siya ng isang revolution, so ibig sabihin yung measure niya is lagpas din ng 1 revolution. So nag-add tayo doon ng 180 plus 80, 260 degrees pa to sa 360 degrees. That's why we end up with negative 620 degrees. Negative because we come up with a negative with the clockwise direction. So, nakuha yun. So, kung hindi pa rin, let's have this last example. Kung medyo nakakaano, no? Ay, paikot-ikot ka na, paikot-ikot. To determine the measure of the terminal side. The terminal side, ito yon, nandito naman siya ngayon. So, ito ang hinahanap natin. Mula dito hanggang dito. Pero dito, measure nito ay 30 degrees. So, kung 30 degrees yon, ito ay buo ay 90, di ba? Yung isang part na to, buo niyan ay 90. So, kung 30 degrees to, 60 degrees na lang to. Tama. So, ilang ikot ba? Isa. Or, para mas madali, pag ganyan yung case, tignan nyo na lang kung ilang beses siya dumaan sa x-axis. Ito, 1, 2, 3. So, may tatlong revolution. So, yan na, 1, 2, 3. Tatlong ikot na siya ngayon. So, tatlong ikot, that's 360 plus 360 plus 360, that's 1,080. Okay? Tama ba? 360, that's 1,080. Then, ang ikot niya ay counterclockwise eh. So, kalahati, 180. Kung may 1,080 ka, plus 180, meron kang 1,260. Dito pa lang yun ha. Then, 1/4, 90 yun. 1,260 plus 90, that would be 1,350. Then, ito na lang naiiwan. Ilan to again? Kung 30 to, ito ngayon, part na to ay 60. So, 1,350 plus 60, meron ka ngayon 1,410. So, kung ang direction mo ay counterclockwise direction, ibig sabihin, the measure of the angle is, the measure of the terminal side is positive. So, we'll come up with the measure as 1,410 degrees. So, ganun natin sinusolve yung problem kapag ganyan yung given. So, nakuha ba yon? So, I hope yung mga examples na binigay natin ay nakatulong sa inyo para once na-encounter nyo yung ganitong case, so you know already on what you are going to do. So, if you do not have questions, that would be all for today. Kung nagustuhan nyo yung video na to, so just hit like, share this video, and also subscribe IGOP Lord official channel. So, importante is for you to subscribe the IGOP Lord official channel. And also, don't forget to comment down below if you do have anything to say. So, hanggang sa muli, goodbye!